Because it's through this process of becoming more authentic that we ignite our sovereignty and therefore our ascension. We all want to awaken to higher states of consciousness and live in the fifth dimension or higher dimensions. Yet until we really know ourselves through this self-examination, this excavation, and final resurrection, breaking through the darkness, letting go of that which isn't truly part of our divine sacred self, we won't be able to fully embody Christ consciousness. And that's our goal. And it's not far, okay? Those integrity is a lot more than just honesty. It's our consistent alignment with our truth that stems from and through our own inner stability, with the rightness of thought, our action, our speech, as we present ourselves to the world. To give ourselves a little bit of relief here too, we all, I think, has been our MO. It's part of humanity, right? Well, the relief comes when we know that we're helping humanity evolve. The more that we can see the light through our darkness, through this excavation and allowing change, looking deep, loving ourselves through it, connecting with our I am presence, raising our own consciousness and our vibration, that's going to not do anything more than to help also the rest of humanity, the planet, our brothers and sisters, right? And the more that we can stay inside, realize, okay, help me with this. Do a meditation where you see yourself standing with your I am presence. Help me with this. Live big in me. Help me forgive myself and others, knowing that we were just tripping through this lifetime, not having any rules, and maybe not even having our own personal boundaries. But now we know better, and we can stand up inside and allow the pain to dissipate. And also today, when in meditation, one of the things that the divine reminded me of is about things that other people have done to you that caused you the pain. We're going to do a little exercise later. But part of that, what came through in meditation today, was to say what Jesus said when he was on the cross. Forgive them, for they don't know what they do. They know not what they do, to this brilliant presence of light within me. So not taking that on as a stance of martyrdom, of, oh, poor me, look what they did to me, forgive them because they didn't know what they did to me. No, it's not that. People can do things to our body, they can mistreat us, but they can't touch the light. They can't touch it. Can't try to blow it out because it ain't going anywhere. It's there. And so when we operate from that stance of nothing can touch my spirit, then yes, forgive them because they have no idea who I am. And they have no idea that they need to turn their eyes inward, because people don't hurt us on purpose. Hurt people, right? So the next time something happens where you feel hurt by somebody else, forgive them, for they know not who I am and what they tried to do. They can't touch it. Okay. And that will hopefully turn things around for not only them, but for you, always maintaining that pillar of light within you that cannot be extinguished because it's so connected. You move within the core of the ray of the I am presence of the great central sun. Let that be your mantra now through the rest of your life. Let that be the piece and part that changes you from the inside. Nothing can cause the flame to go out. Okay? The human stance is that we want to belong. We like to know that we belong. We want to be, that's why family is so important to us. That's why community is important to us. But that's also why our connection with the divine is top. But that's on a spiritual level, on a soul level. On the human level, to learn how to deal with overcoming that fear of self-expression, someone else's opinion. Someone might say you're wrong. So when we can get over that shame, our inner shame and our inner guilt, and really go inside and love that guilty one, that shameful one, into submission of the higher self, that's the start. And I think as a collective, sometimes we're just touching the surface, but I also think we're further along than we think we are. So again, I hope that you can pull back from a little bit of that overwhelm, take a deep breath and know these are my steps that I'm taking on this journey. I know that there's greatness within, and I'm finding it and I'm loving it and I'm encouraging it to stand up in me and be there all the time for me. Because it is you. Who was it, that famous philosopher that said, to know thyself? And that's the human journey. It's not a once and done. It's as long as we're in human form, we're going to be working on this, right? But not to work on ourselves as self-improvement because there's something wrong with me. And I'm going to talk about that again in a minute. There's nothing wrong with you. We've just had some misperceptions and told ourselves some of the wrong stories. But by doing this work and through meditation, we can change the neuroplasticity of our brains, right? And then with the body, the mind, the psyche, and our soul all working together, bam, here we are, present. The stories we tell ourselves, yeah. You know what? I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that was really the basis of what Jesus said on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But we become the martyrs and the victims because we've told ourselves these stories that are, I must not be lovable. I must not be worthy enough, thin enough. And if I just try to do this, then I'll be there. uh-uh. It's this. We're already there. We just have to allow the stories to float up and out of us and tell ourselves new ones. And it's not a movement of it's not cognitive. It comes from the heart. That deep self-acceptance. Going deep and finding that core wound and letting the finger of God touch it and soothe it. Maybe we haven't gotten there yet emotionally because of the story. So what do we need to be told to finally know how lovable you are? What do we need to hear? That's why it's so good to give people compliments or to say thank you. Thank you guys just for being you, okay? You're enough. I mean that. Thank you guys for being you. You're doing great. Doesn't that feel good? To do that in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, look at yourself in the eyes. You're doing so good. You thought you were so broken. You're not. No. We still want that upliftment from other people. But the divine also says, have no other gods before me. When we scratch and claw on the outside, wanting this from that person, trying to change and manipulate that so that they like me or call me or love me or whatever, ask me to marry them, whatever. We're still looking for that approval from the outside or the making that more important than this. Who's your God? Are all those other people your God? Be led by that inner spirit, the inner voice. That's why this season of stillness, I think, is so wonderful. So that in the days, in the moments that we have the time aside from the scurrying around or whatever we're doing, we can sit in the stillness. There's heaven right there. There's God. Even looking out the window or going for a walk and seeing the barren trees is such a beautiful reminder of the singularity but yet the unity of all of us and how they even go through their seasons. Grass goes dormant. I've said this before. Grass goes dormant, so leaves fall off the trees. Even bears hibernate. It's taken a cue from nature and also do that. Take a break. Be still. And then in the new year and in the spring, feel the refreshing awakening. Right? It's a beautiful process. Feels painful, but it's actually a very deep, beautiful, raw, vulnerable, sweet process if we allow it to be. Again, taking the blame and shame off yourself. I would encourage you to try this. I did this in my morning meditation. I brought in my I am presence. It started with Jesus. And I was face to face with him, and he held out his hands, and I put my hands in his hands. And he said, "Look me in the eye." Try that. It's a really good barometer to where your level of shame or guilt may be. And then it turned into my higher self. Same thing, looking into its eyes. It's not real easy if we have felt unlovable. Oh, I can't look you in the eye because all my stories. I'm to blame for this, this, and this. They look clearly at you with eyes of purity, seeing deep through to your soul. The uniqueness that they built within you, forged within you the day that you came into this world. And how we allow our suffering to keep that under a thumb, but it's nobody else's thumb but our own, right? Yeah. Things aren't as bad as they appear to be because we have fear and insecurities, right? We haven't, okay, you know what this really boils down to? Trusting yourself. And then trusting that we live in a benevolent universe. And this is really good. Do other people really have an expectation of what they want us to be? Maybe some people do. But how many of those ideas are really are our projection of what others want us to be? I now release the idea of what I think others want me to be. I now release the compulsion to feel that I have to do what others want me to do. Oh, that's good. Ooh, I just got chills on that one. Make that a mantra. I now release that compulsion to project onto other people what I think they expect me to be. Great. This is good. This is real good. You've got this. Your life is too precious, spending it being a benched player, wasting your energy on people who aren't capable of supporting you or showing you love. We've become so accustomed to human love that we don't realize what love really feels like or what it is. So in the meantime, we hide ourselves from the world, all the while expecting them to give us what we need, what we believe we deserve. And the cycle has been up until now a little backwards. So when we consistently look for things that are wrong with us, in need of fixing, there will always be something to find, right? But when we can get off that cycle of what's wrong with me, we then stop the search for the next thing to fix. We then let go of the addiction to self-improvement to deaden the pain. The mind continues to go through the files in its mind, searching for the next narrative to give voice to. Again, this is an endless cycle. So we're reframing our narratives, which, by the way, is the only true course to freedom. The human heart is unstable, subject to our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Yet the higher, divine, sacred heart is unwavering, never changing. This is the Christ within that I was talking about earlier. This is where we discover neutrality and pure abiding love. We give ourselves the gift of freedom by accepting ourselves and others just as we are. We begin to trust ourselves again. And when we trust ourselves, we can then trust that we live in a trustworthy, benevolent universe. We remove the chains of our self-imposed prisons, moving into a state of being that cannot be described with words. The inner child can be drawn into the sublime submission of the higher self within, realizing the comfort, safety, and compassion of it. This is what it's meant to be, a child of God. The human heart becomes the child to the sacred parent, awaiting the release of its childish ways and also awaiting instruction into adulthood of the unwavering love and stable presence of the God Self. In this is spiritual maturity. In this we find magic. And I'm not talking about the magic of the mind that tries to coerce the universe to accomplish something for us. No, this is the small self in submission to the parental guidance of the Christ within. Again, have no other gods before me, right? And when that inner child can succumb to and be obedient to the will of its divine Lord, so to speak, the universe begins to align to that perfect will, in line with the Lord's will, serving it. This is where real magic, synchronicity, and manifestation occur. So you see, it's not an accomplishment of the mind. It's a movement or a marriage of hearts. When we allow ourselves to be the crucible, the vessel of the Sacred Heart, eternally in submission to its will, its prompting, we will bring completion to our human heart's desires. But what's required is that we become disciples of our own inner higher vision and soothe the fears of, who will I be without my narratives? For we will only usher in peace on earth through igniting love within, one heart at a time. All right. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of your body on the seat that you're sitting on, your feet on the floor. Because we're going to now release anyone and everyone in our lives from responsibility for our feelings and our circumstances. We know that our only proper response to life is through our sacred I am presence. So now you might want to say to yourself, I now profess gratitude to this person or this person or this person. Think of who you want to express gratitude for having been the mirror in your life, the mirror that reflected back to me my truest thoughts about myself. For these people, this person showed me so beautifully my erroneous feelings of being separate. Yet they were the ones who loved me the most, the souls that loved me the most. Therefore, there is no need for forgiveness because I take full responsibility for my reactions to them, knowing that my soul so perfectly summoned them to me to show me that which I needed to know to grow and discover my own stability and awareness. So let's continue this together. You've worked so hard at being yourself, with your fears and insecurities having run the show up until now. So guide yourself back to yourself. Call yourself back home. And also know that you were not left here alone to suffer. Take another deep breath and imagine a sphere of pure white light above you, with its rays streaming down upon you, encasing you, enveloping you in its comfort and love. Feel the cells of your body and your mind receiving, being ignited with and through its abiding grace. Be still. Allow the wonders of its light to return to you, your innocence and your purity. No judgment, just love, safety, and grace. Ask this penetrating beam, your I am presence, to inspire you to live full on through the magic and majesty of the body that encases the brilliance of your sacred soul. Breathe. May God bless each and every one of you through its abiding grace and love. Thank you so much for being a part of this self-discovery journey with me. Hugs and love to you all. From my heart to yours.